Hello, I'm Denise Hill. I love sharing stories of my experiences with celebrities, politicians, some of your favorite musicians and artists, but most importantly, I love sharing the stories of everyday people. Their lives serve as opportunities to inspire, empower, and educate. It is my honor to share the stories of those who fought the fight against breast cancer and won. The So Alive Project is all about sharing the stories of survivors and caregivers. Whether you are in the fight, a survivor yourself, supporting someone who is in the fight, or just want to be informed, my hope is that this story will bless you. Please make sure you subscribe to this page or set your notifications on all social media so you don't miss one. I am at The Denise Hill. One of these stories just might change your life. I'm Denise Hill, and this is the So Alive Project. I'm here with Miss Acquanette House. How are you?
I'm fine.
You have been described to me as a mother of two,
Yes.
a wife, a grandmother, and not just a breast cancer survivor, but you've been a survivor for a long time. What does that mean?
I've been a survivor for 26 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So can we start from the beginning?
Okay, from the beginning, my aunt, my mom's sister, had breast cancer. My mom ended up getting breast cancer. So I always made sure I took my mammogram every year. And one year, 1993, I go to get my mammogram, and they thought they saw something in my right breast. Well, I went and had a mammogram done, sonogram, everything. Go to the hospital. I had a surgeon, and he sent me upstairs so the person can, I guess, mark where they thought they saw this lump. Well, the guy never saw anything in my right breast. He was like, well, I don't see anything. So my doctor, Dr. Blair, who's now deceased, told me to come back downstairs, go back downstairs, get on the table. And he checked my left breast, and there was a lump. And he asked me, had I ever felt this lump before? And I said, no. It was like it just just appeared just then. Well, I went and had it removed, and of course it came out to be cancerous. That was in October of 93. November of 93, I go in and had a modified radical mastectomy on my left breast. So the cancer was not in my right breast as they thought it was in my left breast. And I go and have mammogram, had my mastectomy done. And during the same operation, I had a tummy tuck to, had my breast reconstructed again. So
wait, they can do that?
Yeah.
They take it from other parts. Okay.
Yes, I decided I didn't want to have an implant because, to me it was like a foreign body and, a foreign thing in my body, and I already had cancer. So I did, the nurse and the doctor's office was like, no, Miss House, don't do that. We can do a tummy tuck, and, we take your fat from your stomach and, replace it. So that's that's how I got my breast done.
Wow.
So then I ended up staying in the hospital for, about 10 days. I got home just before Thanksgiving. My husband cooked Thanksgiving dinner and everything, because I was still laid up in the bed. I was in and out the hospital that year maybe 6 times because of my breast. What happened was they had put a lamp on my breast, and what it did, it scarred it. It burned it. So I kept smelling this. I was like, what is this smell? Something is not right. And I go back into the doctor's office, and of course I had to go back in the hospital, So I stayed in the hospital. I was in and out the hospital that whole year, maybe about 6 times in and out. Then I ended up getting a hernia from my tummy tuck. I could barely walk in the mall with my kids. It's like every half hour I had to sit down. Come to find I had a hernia. Go back into the hospital, had that done. So it was, it was something.
That was an experience, huh?
It was an experience, yes. But, I never had, then on top of that, I go back to my doctor, and he was like, well, have you seen, this was the plastic surgeon. So he says to me, well, have you seen oncologist? And I was like, no, nobody did, because we're concentrating on getting this breast together. So he says, well, have you seen an oncologist? And I was like, well, no. So he said, well, I think you need to go see an oncologist. By this time, it's been 6 months since I had the, operation. So I go to Dr. Casson, who was my oncologist, and he looks at me and he says, well, Miss House, well, how long has it been? So it's been about 6 months. He said, and you just now coming in? I was like, well, yeah, we was concentrating on trying to get my breast together. He said, well, I tell you what, we're not going to do chemo or anything, radiation. Let's do some blood work to see, exactly where you at. So do the blood work. Blood work comes back fine. So for a whole year, I went back and forth to the doctor, to the oncologist, taking blood work for a whole year. So I never had chemo. I never had radiation. I never took any kind of medication or anything like that. So I've been blessed.
Can you identify the type that you had?
The type of cancer?
Yes, because that was quite a while ago. I'm guessing that if you were to have a similar experience today, they'd probably treat you a bit different than back then. Is that fair or true?
Like I said, the only reason why I didn't get chemo was because it had been 6 months. I think had I gone to the doctor earlier, that they probably would have, given me or wanted me to take, chemo or radiation.
Mm.
But I had already had mastectomy, so it wasn't like, a lumpectomy or whatever, and they just take the lump out and then they do the, the radiation and all that. I had mine removed. So then I had to go back to get a reduction on my right breast. So I was in the hospital again for that.
Wow. What is the conversation that you have with your children like, seeing as though there's a family, pathology going on here?
Well, I actually went to a health, I guess it was like, what you call it?
A genetic doctor?
I did go to make sure, because I didn't understand at that time that I had to be the one to see whether or not I was a carrier. And when I went to this health program, they were saying, well, you need to go, because I was thinking my kids need to, to go. And the doctor there was like, no, you need to go to see whether or not you are a carrier. So I go and, it's called a BRCA1 and a BRCA2 analyst. And they found no mutation, and they didn't detect anything there. So I'm not a carrier, which was good for my kids.
Yeah, what a blessing.
And I didn't do that until 2011 because, they was like, well, have you ever had this test done? I was like, well, no. And they was like, well, this was, and my oncologist said, well, I think you need to go and have it done. Because every year I would go, and they was like just so surprised that, no radiation, no chemo, no medicine, and you like just rolling right along. Like I said, I was just blessed. My husband was very supportive. My kids were supportive, and I'm just here.
So, from a mental and spiritual perspective, because that was a lot, do you feel the challenging part was dealing with the fact that you got this cancer diagnosis, or all the subsequent surgeries and complications afterwards?
How can I say this? I never really, I just prayed that I wanted to see my kids graduated from high school. That was my whole thing. Like, I had these two girls, and I just, wanted to be there. And I just prayed that, let me just, stay here on this earth to see that happen. That was my main thing. I never felt as if, why me? Although I was young, when it happened, 68 today. And, no, I just, with all the surgeries, now, that was kind of tough, going in and back and forth into the hospital. But I had good doctors. I had a good surgeon, and I had good family. I had good support. That's all I could ask for.
Was the choice to have your breast removed yours or the doctor's?
Yes. No, it was mine. I wanted both breasts removed because I didn't want to have to go through every year thinking, okay, what's this? You get a pain, is something's going on, I wanted both done. My sister had worked in a doctor's office, and she was telling me that a lot of the women was coming in and wanted both. They were getting both breasts removed. Well, when I talked to my surgeon about it, and I said, "Look, Dr. Blair, I would like to have both of them removed." He said, "No, Miss House, you're not going to do that. We're just going to do this one. You know, you don't have to do both." I was a little sad about that because I really wanted to do both because I just didn't want to have every year thinking about, you know, is the cancer coming back, or, you know, what's this pain, or, you know, what, is this a lump or whatever. Just didn't want to have that, you know, that headache. But he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't. So, I mean, talk to me about advocacy, because one would say if that's your choice, you should be able to have that take place. Did he have a reason as to why? Was there any, you know, family concerns? I mean, you were married at the time as well, so
I was married. My husband was like, "Whatever you decide to do, I didn't marry your breast. I married you. So if you want to, you know, have it, you know, a reconstruction. If you don't want to have it, that's totally up to you. You know, I love you for what, you know, for you, not your breast." So with him, he's such a great guy. I tell you, I've been married 43 years.
Wow.
But my doctor was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're just not doing that."
Wow.
So I just went along, you know. I wasn't going to fight. I was like trying to deal with one breast, and so.
Well, you were fighting either way.
I was trying. I was trying.
What did you use other than the motivation to be there for your children, to continue the fight, to keep you encouraged?
Just looking at them and knowing that they wanted me around, you know, was like, I'm their mom, and it's like, you know, just having faith. I never said, you know, why me? Why did it happen to me? I never got depressed. I never got to the point that it was like, oh my God, you know, why is this happening to me? Or, you know, depressed, you know, taking medication for depression. I never had to do anything like that. I just kept myself, you know, tried to keep myself in high spirits.
So you mentioned that, you know, one of the reasons you wanted to have both breasts removed was so you wouldn't have to worry about this every year and having only one removed. What is your mental state like, and what do you do to make sure your body is at a place where you can continue to be cancer-free? I
still go and get my mammograms every year. I still go to see my oncologist once a year. Now I get mammograms and sonograms. I get 3D. And I do take vitamins. I had my aunt, who was the first one that's diagnosed with cancer, and she gave me a whole list of these vitamins to take. She said, whatever you do, you know, take these vitamins, you know. So
Can you share a few with our listeners?
Well, I take vitamin E. I take B-complex, B12. And those are the only three that I really take every day. I take those every day.
Was there any change in your diet or lifestyle?
Well, I don't eat a lot of red meat. That was one thing that I stopped doing. Well, I really didn't do that much anyway. But I don't eat a lot of pork, red meat. My husband really don't like red meat anyway. So we do a lot of chicken and fish. We're trying to just watch what we eat. I can't really say I exercise the way I should. You know, I have two grandkids, two grandboys, a 5-year-old and 4, and also an 11-year-old. So it's 3 of them. So they keep you young. And, watching them, taking care. I, retired when I was 62. I decided I was going to retire at 62. I stayed home with them and watched them. My oldest daughter lives about 2 minutes from me. And my youngest daughter lives about 45 minutes from me. So
now that your children are grown, what conversations do you have with your daughters about making sure that they stay on top of their health?
I try to make sure they go to the doctor. Please go get a mammogram. Please take care of your health. I guess they think sometimes that I think they're still little kids because I'm like, okay, you go to the dentist, you need to go to the dentist, you need to go to the doctor. Have you gone to the doctor? Have you gotten your PAP? Have you gotten your mammogram? Just to remind them, that, hey, this is your health. We have a history. I have a cousin that has breast cancer. Her sister had breast cancer. So I had 2 cousins from the same family that had breast cancer. And she just found out that she had breast cancer not too long ago, about a year ago.
So you've become a resource to them, no doubt.
Yes, they call. and, this is what I'm going through, and, you'll be okay. So everybody's, and her sister, I guess she had cancer maybe about 10 years ago, but she actually had a implant. I didn't want an implant, but she's still, she's doing great. No problems. She go to the doctor also every year. So it's really just a matter of making sure that you catch whatever you have early on. And I think with mine, it was, an early stage. I didn't have any cancer in my lymph nodes. That was another thing. So that was a plus that I didn't have any in my lymph nodes. Because once it goes in your lymph nodes, then that means it's traveling throughout your body. So I was fortunate not to have any in my lymph nodes.
So having been a survivor for decades now, is that ever present in your life, or just every year when you come around to that yearly doctor's appointment, or, that time for you to go get that mammogram, do you just remember, okay, this is just a part of my life now, or do you kind of define yourself still as a breast cancer survivor?
I define myself as a breast cancer survivor. I mean, it's always in the back of your head. If you wake up and your back hurt, or, you're stiff, I mean, you have all kinds of thoughts, but you just can't let that overtake your whole day. You just have to say, okay, I'm just getting older. I'm just a little stiff. Like now I have to go back. November, I'll go back and take another mammogram and sonogram. And whenever I go, I just wish, everything comes out fine, that, they don't see anything. And if they do, I guess I just have to deal with it.
You're a fighter, and you survived once, you'll survive again.
I hope so. Well, I have a lady who used to work with me, because I used to work at the Post, and she called me and she said, well, Acquanette, I don't know whether or not you know this, but I was just diagnosed with breast cancer. I said, no, I didn't know that. So I said, but if you, need somebody to go to the doctor's appointments with you, or the hospital, call me, let me know. Because you need that. You need somebody that has been there.
Wow, that's huge. And I got to correct myself. It's not you survived it once before. If it comes back, we're going to trust God that it won't.
That's true. I'm hoping that.
That's it. And you're just a survivor who's encouraging and empowering others, and definitely supporting folks willing to go to doctor's appointments and things. That's a huge, huge piece to surviving this, just having a support system. And
it is.
You said your husband is the best.
Yes, he is the best. He is the best. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", but I tell you, they always called him a gentle giant, and he's definitely a gentle giant with me through thick and thin. So I couldn't ask for anything else. And my kids have been with me. They worry. Are you okay? You need anything? So I'm fine.
Wonderful. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for being transparent, and definitely thank you for continuing to be an encouragement and inspiration to others.
Well, I hope you can use some of it.
We can use it all. We celebrate you as a survivor. Thank you.
Thank you.
My hope is that this story has helped to educate you, empower you, and encourage you. We offer all the love and support we can for those who are in the darkest of moments, and we celebrate that we're so alive for those who have been victorious and survived the great challenge they call breast cancer. Most importantly, I honor the legacies of those who are at rest from the fight. I appreciate each and every person for their willingness to share their story, and I look forward to bringing you more. Make sure to follow me on social media. I am the Denise Hill. You stay blessed.